This idea of like writing is thinking, I think we just need to keep coming back to that.
Hmm.
And that's really, I think, maybe a good heuristic to take when you're trying to ask, is this a good or a bad use of AI? Is it enhancing your thought on the topic? There's myriad examples of how someone could be using AI to like sort of like develop their own perspective and
Mm.
thought on a topic. On the converse, if AI is displacing that process, I think that's where you start to run into some red flags should go up.
Alex, those are like, that is a really simple way for parents to assess support. Is it enhancing or is it displacing? And I think if we can just ask those two questions and really get those questions going in our children's minds as they're interacting with AI, it can be incredibly protective.
Yeah, and just to delve a bit into some of the research is truly all over the place. There's lots of studies that show AI is incredibly valuable in teaching and learning settings. There is one study that looked specifically at writing. They took brain scans of students who were writing, I think it was like SAT essays, and what they found is that the students who were, let's say, over reliant on AI is that the parts of the brain that normally light up during sort of like these like deep metacognitive critical thinking tasks, they weren't activating as much. Small sample size, things like 54 subjects, but it's a reason to be thoughtful about this. Most people don't necessarily have a writing coach that they can turn to, and I think going through that sort of Socratic process of sort of like being introspective about what you've written. Is there a better way for me to say this point that I made? I don't know, Lisa, what's your take? I mean, to me, that doesn't raise the same alarm bells as,
Well,
just sort of like plug and play.
exactly, because you have to use your own critical thinking skills in order to do that iterative process. And I think the risk would be the kid who is like, we, like, I just asked this question and out pops my essay and I'm done. And of course, that you can absolutely see could just turn the light dimmer down on those fMRIs.
We need to focus a lot more on the process than ever before because AI is going to make it such that, anybody can come up with a really cool
Here,
output.
here. Yes.
Um, and, even an output that doesn't look perfect might actually be a much better learning experience if it includes, this sort of process of learning and exploration that we know is actually sort of like driving learning in kids.
In general, when we talk about learning and growth mindset, we talk about focusing on the process, not the outcome. That's something that helps kids learn no matter what we're thinking about. It's no different with AI.